Assalamu alaikum. If you look at the words on the board, you will notice something. What is that? That the first word is qatala, the second word is da'a, the third word is yadnu, and the last is khashiya. We want to look at just the last letters of each of these words. Now you see that the last letter of the first word is la, lam, which is qatala, lam. The second word, the last letter is alif, and the third word, the last letter is wa, and the last word, the last letter is ya. What do we mean by this? In the Arabic language, the verbs of the Arabic language, they end in two different ways. Either it ends as Sahih al-Akhir, that is, it ends with an authentic letter and a healthy letter at the end of it, or it ends with harfun min huruf illa, with one of the sick letters. Now, what are the sick letters? The sick letters are simply alif, wa, and ya. These three letters are considered to be sick letters. Why do we call them sick letters? You will learn this. Then every other letter apart from these letters, these three letters, are termed healthy letters. That is, letters which are sahih, authentic. Now, if you look at all of these words, you will see that only the first word has an authentic letter. The other three words, they end with an inauthentic or a sick or even a weak letter. This is to say that the word qatala has at the end of it la. So qatala, it is with Sahih al-Akhir, that is the end of it. It ends with an authentic letter. When you look at da'a, it ends with alif. And in this, we have other plenty words which end in this manner, like qadar. Qadar also end in this manner. Then if you come to the third, you see yadnu ending with wa. You see tasfu, yasfu. These words also end with wa. So in today's topic, this is what we shall be discussing from our book An-Nahwu al-Wadih lil-Marhalatil Ibtidaiyya. That is Nahwu Wadih for the beginners level. So can we begin? Let's begin. We can see, as usual, we are now beginning the second part or the second volume of this book. So the topic is تقسيم الفعل إلى صحيح الآخر ومعتل الآخر. That is classification of verbs into the ones which have authentic letter at the end of them and the ones which have sick letters at the end of them. And I've explained what sick letters are and what healthy letters are. We have al-amthila examples, just as usual. We have number one, we have al-qasayadu shabakata. The hunter casted his net. So the word alqa, it is a verb and it ends with, you can see the letter that looks like ya, though this is not ya, this is termed as alif maksura. It is known as alif. That's why we pronounce that what? Alqa, alqa. Number two, we have da al-maridu at-tabiba. The sick, the patient, called or summoned the doctor. So da it also ends with alif. This is to show that this word is also having a harful illa at the end of it. The third, we have yalqal musi'u jaza'ah. The sinner will meet his reward. So yalqa also ends with alif. Number four, we have sarwa rajulu. The man became famous. The man became magnificent or generous, something karuma. So sarwa ending with wa, and wa is the second letter of the letters of the sick letters. Number five, we have tasfu sama. The sky is clearing up. It's clearing up. It's becoming clear. So tasfu, it ends with wa also. So this is to show that this word ends with a harful illa. And number six, we have yadnu faslu shita. The winter period or the winter what do you call it? The winter season. The season of winter is drawing closer. So yadnu also ends with wa. Now, number seven, we have khashiya Muhammad Rabbah. Muhammad feared his Lord. So khashiya end with ya, and ya is harful illa. The second is abegi ridol walidain. I seek the pleasure of the two parents. So abegi also end with ya, and it's a verb. Number nine, we have yabnil banna'u masjidan. The builders are building a mosque. So yabni, you can also see that it ends with ya. Number 10, we have أظلم المكان. The place become dark. So أظلم, you can see it ends with mim. Is mim a harfun min huruf al-illa? No, mim is a healthy letter. Number 11, we have اتقد المصباح. That is, the lamp is lit. So اتقد also end with dal, and dal is not a harmful illa, so it ends with an authentic letter. The last sentence we have here is yastahimul gilman. The boys are bathing. The boys are what? Bathing. So yastahimu ends with mim, and mim is an authentic letter, not a sick letter. Now let's go to al-bahthu, which is research, so we can explain what we have been talking about all this while. Al-kalimatu, the words alqa, wada'a, wa yalqa. These three words, fil amthilati salasatil ula kulluha af'alun. In the first three examples that we see, all of these three words that we have mentioned, they are verbs. Wa akhiru kulli minha alifun. And the ending of each of these verbs is alif. لأنه ينطق بها ألفا, because they are pronounced as alif, like alqa, da'a, and what? Yalqa. Now, والمعول عليه هنا النطق للكتابة. And when we are saying that these words end with alif, what we mean by alif is in the pronunciation, not in the writing, because you can see alqa that it actually ends with ya. But in pronunciation, it is pronounced as alif, and you see that the same goes for yalqa. The same way it is pronounced as alif, even though you are saying ya. So, وتسمى هذه الأفعال أفعالا مطلة الأخير, and therefore these verbs are called verbs with the sick letter ending. These are verbs which end with sick letter, so they are called أفعال مطلة الآخر, verbs which end with sick letters. والكلمات, now coming to the second three examples, the words you can find at the beginning of them, خشية, abegi, and yabini. These words that you can see here, والكلمات, and the words sarwa, watasfu, wayadunu, from the second three examples, that's example number 4 to number 6, fil amthilati thaniya kulluha af'alun. All of these verbs, you see that they are also verbs. All of these words are also verbs. Wa akhiru kulli minha, and the endings of each of these three words are wow. You see that all of these three words, they end with wow. وتسمى أيضا أفعالا مطلة الآخر, and they are also called verbs with sick letter endings, verbs which end with a sick letter. والكلمات, now coming to the second three examples, example number 7 to 9, you see that the words خشية, abegi, ويبني. These three words, في الأمثلة الثلاثة كلها أفعال. In the three examples, they are all verbs. وآخر كل منها ياء, and the ending of each of these verbs is ya. وتسمى كذلك أفعالا مطلة الآخر, and they are also called verbs with sick letter endings, أفعال مطلة الآخر. والكلمات, now coming to the last three examples, example number 9 to 12, you see the words أظلم, واتقد, ويستحم. The words أظلم, اتقد, يستحم في الأمثلة الثلاثة الأخيرة, in the last three examples, كلها أفعال, they are also verbs. وآخر كل منها, and the ending of each of these words, ليس ألفا, they did not end with alif, wawawan, they did not end with wa, wa ya, and not even ya. These three words, avlama, itaqada, and yastahimu, they did not end with any of the three sick letters, neither alif nor wa nor ya. He said, therefore, what to some maf'alan sahih al-akhir. Therefore, these verbs are called verbs with healthy ending. Allah Akbar. These verbs, they end healthy. That's their ending. They do not end with alif, wa, or ya. Summarily, any verb that you see which ends with all of the letters except alif, wa, and ya, they are called verbs. They are called af'alu sahihat al-akhir. That is verbs with healthy ending. Otherwise, verbs with alif, wa, and ya at the end, they are called af'alu mutalatan al-akhir, verbs with sick letter ending or sick ending. Now, al-qawaid, this is the rule. This rule will make it simpler for you. What is the rule? The rule says al-fi'lu al-mutalul akhir, that is verbs with sick letter ending. The verb with a sick letter ending, huwa ma kana akhiruhu alifan. It is defined as a verb which has its ending as either alif or wa or ya. So if you hear that a verb is called a verb with a sick letter ending, it simply means a verb with alif, ya or wa at the end. وتسمى هذه الأحرف الثلاثة بأحرف الإلا. Then the name which we call these three letters alif, wa and ya, they are called حروف الإلا, which simply means the sick or the weak letters. Again, حروف الإلا. The next rule says الفعل الصحيح الآخر. Now coming to the verb with a healthy ending, it is the verb هو ما لم يكن آخره حرفا من أحرف الإلة الثلاثة. It is any verb which does not have either of the three sick letters. So this is very simple, that whenever you hear verbs with sick ending or verbs with healthy ending, what they mean? Again, verbs with healthy ending, they are verbs which end without alif, wa or ya. And verbs which have healthy ending, they are verbs with healthy ending, they are verbs which does not have alif, wa and ya at the end, and verbs with sick ending are verbs which have alif, wa, ya at the end. And you can mention a lot of examples from the words which we use day in, day out. Now we have tamarinat exercises. This exercise will make you understand this topic better, and especially if you solve this exercise by yourself, you will improve your Arabic archive or vocabulary archive, and also you will have a lot of phrases to use in your day in, day out communication. And also this will help you in understanding this topic better, and you can even teach it to others because you've solved exercises by yourself. You train yourself in how to use this word yourself. Number one, we have ayyin al-af'al as-sahiha. The first instruction says ayyin al-af'al as-sahiha, indicates the verbs which authentic ending, the verbs with healthy ending, wal mu'tallat al-akhir fil ibarat al-atiyah, and also verbs with sick ending in the following passage. So here we have a passage to read, and from this passage we are to indicate the verbs which are being used, divide them into two columns. The first column should contain the verbs with authentic or healthy ending, and the second column should have verbs which have sick ending. Can we do this? Of course we can. Let's go. Now we have kharaja faridun yatanazzahu wa yumatti'u nazarah. Firstly, let me explain this passage so we can benefit from this story. Kharaja faridun. Farid went out. Yatanazzahu wa yumatti'u nazarahu bimashasin at-tabi'ah. He went out in a recreational walk. He went out to stroll, and he enjoys the sights of the natural sight which is seen. فَصَادَفَ جَدْوَلًا يَجْرِي مَاؤُهُ, and he came across a stream whose water is flowing. فَيَرْوِي الزَّرْعَ وَيُلَطِّفُ الْهَوَىٰ. As the water is flowing, it waters the plants and also it refreshing the air. وَلَقِيَ غَنَامًا تَرُوحُ وَتَغْدُو آمِنَةً تَرْعَى الْقَلَأَ وَتَشْرَبُ الْمَاءَ. And he also came across sheep and flocks of animals which move upward and downward during the morning and the night, and they are so safe. Tar al Qala'a, these sheep, he sees them, or he saw them, that they were pasturing, they were eating from the pastures, and they were drinking from the water. Wara'a ashjaron, and he also saw trees. Farid also saw trees, tadnu athmaraha, whose fruits were so close. Watamilu bi aghsaniha, and these trees, they bent their branches so he could pluck and eat. Fawaqafa indaha sa'at, and then Farid stood under this tree for some time. Hatta idha malat ash-shams, until when the sun shifted ila al-ghurubi, towards the west, qafala raji, and he went returning home. He started returning back home. Now let's go back and do what we are asked to do. Let's use the verbs and let's pick the verbs and identify which of them is authentic ending and which of them is an unhealthy ending. The first verb we have here is kharaja. Kharaja, it ends with jim, and that jim is authentic, it's healthy letter. So let's place it under the healthy verbs. The second is yatanazzahu. Yatanazzahu. Yatanazza. Yatanazza. This is the verb. So yatanazza is also sahihul akhir with good ending. The next is Yumateo. Yumateo is also under healthy ending. Then Swadafa is also under healthy ending. Then Yarui, this is the Yajiri is the first one because it ends with Ya, is under Al-Mu'tal al-Akhir, that is verbs with sick ending. Then Yarui is also under Mu'tal al-Akhir because it ends with Ya. Then we have Yolatifu. Yolatifu is under the healthy ending. Then we have Lakia. Lakia is under the unhealthy ending. Then Taruhu is under the healthy ending. Tagudu under the unhealthy ending. Tara'a under the unhealthy ending. Tashrabu under the healthy ending. Ra'a under the unhealthy ending because it ends with Alif. Then Tadunu under the unhealthy ending, Tamilu under the healthy ending, then Waqafa under the healthy ending, then Malati, Mala under the healthy ending. Then that Qafala is also under the healthy ending. So you can see the distinction that we have made between verbs which have healthy ending and verbs with unhealthy ending. But let's move on to Tamrino Sani, exercise number 2. What is the instruction? Instruction says, Ij'al kulla ismin min al-asma'i al-atiya fa'ilan li fa'ilin mu'tallin al-akhir. That the following nouns, we should make them to serve as the subject of sentences which have a verb, and the verb should have a sick ending letter at the end of them. We have these nouns. These nouns here, we have to form them into a sentence using a verb with a sick ending. You understand, of course. The first verb we have here is al-ma'u. Al-ma'u, we can say sofa al-ma'u. The water is clear. The water is clear. It's clean. So sofa is free. End with is a fi'l mu'tallun al-akhir which has a sick ending because it ends with alif. The next is adh-dhi'bu, the wolf. We can say our dhi'bu, the wolf bay, that is the wolf. What is it called? The wolf cry. The wolf. How do we say it? The wolf bark. So we can see our is also a word, a verb with a sick ending. The next is Al-Hisan. We can say Sarah Al-Hisan, the Hisan run away, the horse ran. So Sarah is also a word among the words with sick ending. Then Ar-Rajulu, we can say Bagor Rajulu, the man transgressed. So Bagor is also part of the words. At-Tiflu, the baby, we can say Baka Tiflu, the baby cried. So Baka also has a sick ending. Then Al-Gonamu, the sheep, we can simply say Tar Al-Gonamu, the sheep, or they are pasturing. Now, so the B part, we have ij'al kulla ismin min al-asma'il atiya maf'ulan bihi li fi'lin sahihin al-akhir. Now the following nouns, we have to make them serve as the objects of the sentences which will be forming, and these sentences should have a verb with a healthy ending. So the first word we have here is at-ta'amu. I can say akaltu ta'ama, I ate the food. Akaltu has a sahih ending. Next is al-qurratu. I can simply say ishtaraitu al-qurrata, I bought the ball. So ishtaraitu has a sahih ending. Next is al-ibriku. I can say kasarutu al-ibriqo, I broke the kettle. So kasarutu has a good ending. Al-babu, I can say fatahatil baba, she opened the door. So fatahat is a fi'l with a sahih ending. Next is athawbu, the clothes. So I can say ghasaltu thawba, I wash the clothes. So ghasalat is also fi'lul mu'tal al-akhir, fi'lul sahih al-akhir, al-fi'l with a healthy ending. And the last is al-hidha'u, which means shoe. I can say aslahtu the hidha'a, I repaired the shoe. So aslahtu is a fi'l with an authentic ending, a good ending. Now moving on to Tamrino Thalis, exercise number 3. The first exercise under this, the instruction says iti bi thalathi jumalin, form 3 sentences. Yabtadi'u kullun minha. Each of these 3 sentences should begin بفعل ماضي with a past tense verb mu'tallin al-akhir which has a sick ending bil alif, with alif. What this means is that we should form 3 sentences, and each of these 3 sentences should have a past tense verb which has alif at the end of it. Simple. Now these are the sentences here. Number 2, the instruction says iti bi thalathi jumali yabtadi'u kullun minha bi fi'lin madin. We are also to form 3 sentences. Each of them should begin with a past tense verb mu'tallin al-akhir bil ya, and this past tense verb should have the sick letter ya at the end of it. Here are the sentences. Number 3, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل يتوسط كلا منها فعل ماض معتل الآخر بالألف. You should form 3 sentences. Each of the sentences should have in the middle of them a past tense verb which have alif as a Sikh letter at the end of it. This is easy. These are the sentences. Number 4, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل يتوسط كلا منها فعل ماض معتل الآخر بالياء. Form 3 sentences. Each of these 3 sentences should have a past tense verb in the middle of them. This past tense verb should end with ya. Here are the sentences. Moving on to Tamrin or Arabic exercise number 4, the first instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل. Form 3 sentences يبتدئ كل منها بفعل مضارع, making sure that each of the 3 sentences should begin with a present tense verb which has معتل الآخر بالألف, which has alif at the end of it. Present tense verb which has alif at the end of it. Here are the sentences. Second says ائتي بثلاث جمل. Form 3 sentences يبتدئ كل منها. Each of them should begin with فعل مضارع, a present tense verb معتل الآخر بالواء, which has wa in the ending. Here are the sentences. And lastly, ائتي بثلاث جمل. Form 3 sentences يبتدئ كل منها بفعل مضارع معتل الآخر بالياء. And each of these 3 sentences should have a present tense verb which ends with ya. Here are the sentences. Moving to تمرين الخامس, exercise number 5, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل يبتدئ كل منها بفعل ماض صحيح الآخر. Form 3 sentences. Each of these sentences should begin with a past tense verb, but this time the past tense verb should have an authentic, a healthy ending. The past tense verb should not have alif, wa, or ya. Here are the sentences. Number 2, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل في كل منها فعل أمر صحيح الآخر. You should form 3 sentences. Each of the sentences should begin with a command tense which has a healthy ending. A command tense now which has a healthy ending. Number 3, here are the sentences. Number 3, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل في كل منها فعل مضارع مرفوع صحيح الآخر. Form 3 sentences. Each of these sentences should contain a present tense verb which is in the indicative case, meaning which is carrying dhamma, and this present tense should have a healthy ending. Here are the sentences. Number 4, the instruction says ائتي بثلاث جمل. Form 3 sentences. في كل منها. Each of the sentences should have فعل مضارع, a present tense verb منصوب صحيح الآخر, which is in the subjunctive case carrying fatha and having a healthy letter at the end of it. Here are the sentences. Number 5, ائتي بثلاث جمل. Form 3 sentences. في كل منها فعل مضارع. In each of them there should be a present tense verb مجزوم, which is in the jussive case carrying sukun on top of it صحيح الآخر, and it should end with a healthy ending. Moving on to تمرين السادس, exercise number 6, the instruction says ضع مضارع كل فعل من الأفعال الآتية. Place the present tense of each of the following verbs في جملة مفيدة in a good a beneficial sentence. وبين أهو معتل الآخر بالألف أم هو أم بالواء أم بالفعل أم بالياء. Then you should explain whether these present tense verbs they have a معتل الآخر, they have a Sikh ending of alif, a Sikh ending of wa, or a Sikh ending of ya. So these are the verbs here. Here is the solution. Tamrin Sabe, exercise number 7, the instruction says, and this is the last exercise, the instruction says, ضع ماضي كل فعل من الأفعال الآتية. Here we have present tense verbs. We are to form their past tense verbs and place them في جملة مفيدة in a beneficial sentence, in a sentence that makes sense. وبين أهو معتل الآخر بالياء أو بالألف. Then you should explain whether each of the sentence you'll be forming with this past tense verb which you have formed. This past tense verb have a ending of Sikh letter of alif or of ya. With this, we come to the end of this lesson. Make sure you solve all of these exercises by yourself after watching this video, and like this video, share with your friends, drop your comments at the comment section. You can subscribe to our channel to get frequent updates, and subscribe to our membership so you can get members only perks. Until we meet again, bye. Assalamu alaikum.